This is San Diego News Daily.
Hello and welcome to San Diego News Daily. I'm Dana Williams. First up, the fight to keep parking free at San Diego city beaches could soon go before voters on November's ballot. Parking at city beaches and bays has always been free, but now some city leaders say they want San Diegans to decide if it stays that way. A ballot measure to put the choice before voters passed its first hurdle in city council. It needs to go before another committee before going before the full council for final approval. But if it makes it that far, the measure would be on the November ballot.
If someone decided to come from La Mesa to have a euro and pay for parking, it's going to end up costing like $20 or more.
This is all about giving the public a voice. This proposal simply asks that we place this policy before voters so they can decide whether to preserve free parking in our beaches and bay lots.
And as for the two council members who voted against the measure, Councilmember Shawnila Rivera argues that there are other beaches in the county that require city residents to pay a fee, so he says it's about equity, while Councilmember Ketan Lee argues state law already prohibits charging for parking for beach access. And in the aftermath of sexual assault allegations against civil rights icon Cesar Chavez, California lawmakers are fast-tracking legislation to rename the upcoming holiday to Farm Workers Day. And now cities and school districts are working to rename everything from streets to parks and, of course, schools. The city of San Diego says they're taking the next steps to rename two city assets, Cesar Chavez Parkway, that goes through Barrio Logan, and the Community Center in San Ysidro, where signage has already been painted over. Changing the parkway requires city council approval and, of course, community engagement.
Within less than 24 hours, we've identified all of the assets that needed to have naming change consideration, and we're taking this very seriously. Community engagement and feedback from the public will be very important to us through this process, and so that will really dictate our next steps.
And for San Diego Unified's part, they said their board will consider starting the process to change the name of Cesar Chavez Elementary School. And community leaders are celebrating a new housing complex in the Convoy District. San Diegans can now live at Alexan Camellia, the first time people will be able to live on Convoy Street. The district has served as a hub for Asian businesses for decades. The complex has 531 apartments, including studios and 1 and 2 bedrooms.
This has been a part of a long-term deliberative process where the people who are already here say, this is what we'd like to see next. And what I'm thrilled by is that it's actually happening, right? The plan that we've put forward is one the market's reacting to. This is the first of many new home developments are coming to this community, and these additional homes will help bring down the cost of housing for San Diegans.
And the rent there ranges between $2,800 and $4,400 per month. And in the South Bay, the official tall ship of the city of Chula Vista could soon lose its home on South Bay Harbor. This 137-foot schooner, Bill of Rights, has served as a floating classroom for decades, teaching students sailing, navigation, and maritime history. But now the nonprofit that operates the ship has been told to leave. The group received a lease termination notice from Safe Harbor Marina, giving them until May 5th to vacate. The property's new owner, Blackstone Infrastructure, recently acquired the marina as part of a multi-billion-dollar deal and plans to repurpose the harbor. Supporters say losing the ship would mean losing a one-of-a-kind educational resource. Community members, though, started a petition to try and save it.
I'm feeling pretty optimistic. We're getting very, very good response. Like I said, we've been the center of the community in this harbor for 40 years.
And of course, we did reach out to Blackstone and Safe Harbor for comment on their plans for the schooner, and we haven't heard back. And the wife and mother of the young Navy family burned out of their home last Sunday is speaking exclusively with NBC 7. Her husband is credited for saving the life of their toddler, but paying a horrible price with burns over 50% of his body. NBC 7's Dave Summers has the story of their survival.
Shalia Dens has returned before this to her home to collect whatever belongings she could salvage. But this is the first time that she's speaking publicly about her and her family escaping this inferno.
Black smoke and searing flames billowed out of the Carlos Street duplex, while inside, Ricky, Shalia, and their 2-year-old son Ricky were desperate to get out.
When we went downstairs, you couldn't see anything. I didn't see where he was going because I thought we were together. I was calling for him.
All 3 made it to safety. Ricky is credited for sacrificing himself to save the baby, and he has burns to show for it.
He did shield our baby. Most of the burns he did sustain were from his back and his arms. He's the type of man that would do anything for me and my son.
When you look at this, I wonder what you conjure up in your head about that day.
This is supposed to be our home. We fell in love with it, you know. This is where we pictured we raise our son.
The house is destroyed, and with it, most all their belongings. Shalaya says Ricky has second and third degree burns over 50% of his body and remains on a ventilator to breathe.
I miss my husband, so I just want him to get better. He's the love of my life. He's my husband.
Baby Ricky is healing. He has burns on his face, hands, and stomach, but is expected to make a full recovery.
He does miss his dad. The whole change of environment is stressing him out, and then his burns.
Both parents' families live elsewhere, so no close support. Shalaya and Ricky are Navy engineers. While service challenges are great, the task of resettling falls squarely on her shoulders.
Just want to find a home and find a safe space for my son, and then somewhere good for my husband to heal, you know? Yeah. I'm just here trying to do my best.
Shalaya says despite the serious injuries, her husband's prognosis is very good, but how long it will take, how long he'll be in the hospital has not been determined. In Mount Hope, I'm Dave Summers, NBC 7.
You feel for that young family. Our NBC 7 meteorologist Brooke Martell will have a look at your weather right after this.
You count on breaking news.
People running in the streets, they have their kids, they have their pets.
And help preparing for the unexpected.
Small fire right now, we'll keep an eye on it.
You count on stories from your community. You count on getting different points of view.
We're so human.
And your voice being heard.
We need help.
You count on in-depth reporting.
It's a mess, and it's making people sick.
Because you know the whole story is more than just the headline. This is coverage you count on, only on NBC 7 and Telemundo 20.
Taking a look over La Jolla this morning, socked in here. We have fog up and down the coastline, and that really filled in the overnight hours. In some areas, it'll be a little bit stubborn to clear. We are expecting some cloud cover as we go into your late morning, early afternoon as well. But here is a look at that visibility forecast. Again, some dense fog this morning, and as we go into about 10 o'clock, things really do start to clear up. There could be some pockets again along the coastline where we see that visibility downgraded to about 2 miles, but that really won't cause any issues for commuters. Here's a look at the coastal forecast for Oceanside today. Cloudy skies there, low to mid 60s between 8 a.m. and going into about 11 a.m. By lunchtime, close to noon, trending closer to those upper 60s. If you plan on getting in the water, rip current risk will be low today. Wave heights from 1 to 3 feet. That water temperature from about 62 degrees. El Cajon today, again, cloudy skies, but temperatures will be warming up to about the 80s. It doesn't just go for El Cajon. Most of our inland valley communities from those low to upper 80s for your Sunday. And here is a look at the rest of your area forecast. So we know about those upper 60s near Oceanside and Encinitas, warming up a little bit more towards La Jolla and definitely for downtown San Diego. But back to the inland valley communities, we have that mix of low to mid 80s for your Sunday, and we still have 70s and 80s over the mountain communities. Breezy westerly winds at times, close to about 25-30 miles per hour. Similar wind conditions over your desert region. You can see Borrego Springs below triple digits, but right up against it. And we are going to see these temperatures warm up a little bit as we get this upcoming week started. Before we get to details on that, here's a look at your future weather pattern showing right around 10 o'clock. The winds, again, just gradually picking up, won't really be an issue as we go into late this morning. But then as we go into about 1:45, 2 o'clock, you could see over the desert region, especially later this afternoon, those winds starting to pick up and be closer to about 30 miles per hour. And you'll feel a little bit of a breeze going periodically along the coast and over the valleys as well. Here's a look at what we're expecting for this upcoming week. High pressure, again, rebuilding over the west. We know about that warm sinking air. So that is actually going to continue to move east as we go throughout this upcoming week. And then going into next weekend, it starts to break down, and that should help begin a little bit more of a cooling phase for us here in Southern California. But here's a look at the 10-day forecast. You can see on Tuesday, that's when the temperatures start to warm up, and we stay pretty consistent heading into the end of the week, even the start of next weekend. It's really right around Sunday, things will shift a little bit, but then that shift continues into the following week, bringing those temperatures at least closer to seasonal norms for us. That could mean some 60s more consistently near the coast, and some 70s over the Inland Valley communities. You can see that same pattern impacting the mountains. Here it's going to be a warm week as well. We have those 80s. We're not seeing rain in the forecast either, as you can see here with the 10-day. For the desert region, really hovering right around triple-digit temperatures, but same deal as we look ahead to that following week, that Monday, that Tuesday, those temperatures getting closer to the 80s. Dana.
Brooke, thanks so much. And over 1,000 people walked nearly 600 dogs in Escondido for the 27th annual Walk for Animals event. The San Diego Humane Society says the event at Kit Carson Park included a 2-mile walk, breakfast, and dog-friendly activities. This year's walk raised nearly $140,000 for animal rescue programs, wildlife rehab, and community support at the Humane Society. Another Walk for Animals will be held on May 2nd at NTC Park and Liberty Station. And there's more coverage you can count on at NBC7.com. And you can always find us on your Roku or your Samsung Smart TV app. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Dana Williams.